So we've
100%.
all got to pay heed to the people that like set the standard, that opened up the pathway. Now it's time for all of us to come in and do a slight bit of civil disobedience as a community, demonstrate the fact that we're ready for this, and we're not gonna necessarily wait for you to decide when it's appropriate for us to have our legal and personal rights respected. Okay? Because as Trevor, you just pointed out, you cannot logically legalize the sale and consumption of this and not provide us with places for that to happen. That is a nonsensical, illogical way to proceed, and it's affecting people. And it's not just affecting recreational consumers like my man here, Trev. It's affecting medical consumers like me.
Me and
When
me.
you're medical too, bro?
Dude, I transitioned because of an EMS injury. I
Oh
started
shit, I
using
didn't know that,
cannabis
dude.
medically
Okay.
first and foremost for like a back injury. And then I realized that it had huge mental health benefits for me. And I actually utilized it to control, because it was like 8 months before I realized I had major mental health problems from that accident, because I was in so much pain. I was just coping through the pain. I got into a back of the ambulance and I almost blacked out from a panic attack, because that's where I was in the accident. I'm like, okay, there's something wrong here. It was almost 2 years of treatment I went through for my back injury and my mental health. And it's the reason I'm no longer working EMS is because I use cannabis as my medicinal support versus hardcore opiates, T3s, and psych meds. That is the reason why I'm no longer working as a paramedic.
Wow, I didn't know that about you, Trev. That's crazy, man.
That's
Crazy. What a
why I
story,
went from
dude.
0 to 60, man. I had to learn all about it on the medical side, because that's my purpose for using. And I was arguing against Alberta Health Services, EMS, and the Workers' Compensation Board. I had to justify every single decision I had. And I had no medical support, because I went and got my medical card just so I can go, it's legit. It's Health Canada approved. So you can't tell me that this isn't a legitimate prescription. And then I had to go, well, what are you taking? Well, here. And I was talking through the counselors, the psychiatrists, the actual MDs, and I'm explaining the chemical reaction and how it's benefiting me. And they're like, oh, but we could just give you this and it does the same thing. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Yeah. That stops the receptor from feeling pain. This allows me to feel pain, but gives me the motivation to go about my life and find an alternative way to enjoy it. Yeah, I can't run, but I can go and watch somebody else play football and at least enjoy the game.
Dude, when somebody like you or I think about this, man, because it looks like you have your own place there. It looks like you have a dab piece on the table. It looks like you can consume at home. I can't consume at home. And like me, think about this, like, because we're on Commercial Drive, right? Think about Commercial Drive a little bit. I know, Trev, I don't know if you've spent a lot of time. It's like the more like, it's definitely not the wealthiest community, even though property values have spiked like crazy. There's a lot of middle income housing. There's a lot of really expensive houses too. Most of them have been converted to middle income housing. And a lot of people that have middle income housing, like me, we don't have a place to consume. We literally have to go outside our house in winter and stand there outside. I'm a joint smoker, so I have to consume that joint for 20 minutes. I have to stand there outside in the cold for 20 minutes. I don't have ACLs, and I dislocated and separated my arm from my shoulder, broke my humerus in half. Cold makes my arthritis go fucking crazy. So you're asking me to go stand out in the fucking cold all winter when we have cold spurts, when we have rain, when we have snow, all that shit. You want me to go stand out there? And I'm saying I'm not even that sick. I didn't bang my body up that badly. I worked in the downtown east side for close to a decade. I know people that have living situations where they cannot smoke indoors and they're in a fucking wheelchair.
Yeah.
And they have seriously crippling arthritis, or they have another condition where their mobility is limited and their medicine of choice is cannabis. And they've got nowhere to fucking go. And I find that to be actually criminal. I find that to be in violation of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, where we are allowed to pursue happiness, freedom. We're allowed to pursue health. We're allowed to be human. And smoking weed is a normal human thing to do. People need to deal with it. They need to deal with it. Oh, but it's smoke. You know what? It's the only kind of smoke that we have not been able to prove if it's carcinogenic. In fact, we've got some data that indicates that it might counteract carcinogenic effects in your lungs.